What's going on, y'all? Today we got how this guy disrespected Shawn Kemp and had to pay for it, man. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins. Check out the Basketball Time Machine with Sean David.
W shout out by Dominique. W shout out, I ain't gonna lie.
Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to the show. I'm Shawn David. Let's talk some old school basketball. In today's episode, I want to talk about one of my favorite players of all time, Shawn Kemp, and talk about two of the most iconic plays in NBA history and tell you guys the backstory. But before we start with this episode, a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thanks a lot, you guys, for supporting the show. It's really appreciated. And I would say, let's dig right into today's episode.
Bet it up, bet it up.
See, Alf Lister has quietly done a very good job on Shawn Kemp here in this ballgame. 28 in the first half. There we go. We're getting into it now.
Well, bro looked like he even wanted to swing. Bro was just trying to defend himself. 53 was just, he just put his hands up. Yeah, boy, the fuck? He was getting physical. Ah.
Now let me take you back to the
Everybody
late
seen that one.
1980s and tell you how we actually got to this point. Before Shawn Kemp was the Rain Man and one of the most spectacular players in NBA history, he came into the NBA with a huge question mark. He didn't play in college, and even though you could see his athletic ability, Shawn was a diamond in the rough and still needed to learn a lot about the game. When the Seattle Supersonics...
Wait, when was that? What were you? This in college, he looked like a fucking giant compared to them.
Even though you could see his athletic ability, Shawn was a diamond in the rough
Must have been high
and still
school.
needed to learn a lot about the game. When the Seattle Supersonics drafted Kemp with the 17th pick in the
Nah, that gotta be in
1989
Pop's college.
NBA draft, the team was still finding
Never mind.
itself and was not the powerhouse that it would later become. Shawn had it tough in his rookie season, only receiving 14 minutes a game, and you could see he was simply not ready at that time. But he worked really hard at his game, and by his second year, he improved drastically. Kemp and Gary Payton were the youngest on the team and became friends and would compete with each other all the time. Gary would throw lobs as high as possible to see if Kemp could get them. In 1991, a 40-year-old coach named George Karl took over, and after many battles with Kemp and Payton, initially they would all be on the same page and become a yearly...
I ain't gonna lie, bro. The way Shawn Kemp, like, I watched his highlights. Go check him out there on the channel. You know what I'm saying? Yo, bro, the way he dunks, it's like he be dunking some Jones that you don't expect nobody to be really dunking like that because you're so used to other NBA players just going up regular with the layup right there. But he just... effortless.
playoff contender. Now, while Shawn Kemp was emerging as a new NBA superstar, the Golden State Warriors, let's say, had a bumpy ride. In the mid-1980s, the Golden State Warriors were a far different team than what would later become Run TMC. Coached by at that time 35-year-old George Karl, it would take a while before the Warriors had the right pieces together to really make some noise in the NBA. In 1988, Don Nelson took over, and with some very good draft choices, the Warriors would have Chris Mullin, Mitch Richmond, and Tim Hardaway, also known as Run TMC. This would become one of the most exciting prospects of the future. The Warriors were really successful, and everybody knew that they had something special going on. But for whatever reason, club management had a different idea. Trading away Mitch Richmond, breaking up Run TMC, and losing their identity in the process. The Warriors would still be able to compete, but it just wasn't the same. Still, in the 1992 season, it looked like the Warriors would still have it, and after winning 55 games, they made it into the playoffs. Also, the Seattle Supersonics made it into the playoffs. After having 3 different head coaches that year, George Karl helped the team to have a 47-35 record. Under George Karl, Shawn Kemp became a starter, and as a 22-year-old, he was averaging 15 points per game.
Effortless.
Kemp still had a chip on his shoulder and wanted to make sure that he was keeping his starting role. In the first round of the playoffs, the Seattle Supersonics would have the 6th seed and would face the Golden State Warriors, who had the 3rd seed. This was a very interesting matchup since George Karl was the Warriors head coach not too long ago and was replaced by Don Nelson. Also, Carl was under a lot of pressure since the Sonics management wanted to take the next step and was very impatient. During the regular season, the Seattle Supersonics didn't look too good against the Golden State Warriors. And it was Shawn Kemp who could have decided their last match, but he missed the game-deciding free throw. In this playoff series, Shawn Kemp would get the chance to redeem himself, and I can tell you this series would be one for the ages.
The NBA, that usually don't happen. You usually don't get a second chance, man.
It's something that Golden State's obviously very concerned about. Shawn Kemp has had some just dramatic games against the Golden State Warriors. How do you stop a Shawn Kemp inside if you're Golden State that's notoriously not known to be a good rebounding team, but they don't have a lot of bulk up front either?
The only way they're going to stop him is to double and triple team him when he gets the ball down low, and even that is not always that effective with Shawn.
The game started and Shawn Kemp was ready to play. He simply was unguardable that game. A monster on defense, crashing the boards, and the most dominant player on the floor. Tyrone Hill, who was guarding Kemp, was overmatched, and Kemp was dropping 28 points on him. Head coach Don Nelson needed to change something, but for this game, it was too late, and the Sonics took the victory. In Game 2, Tyrone Hill was replaced by Alton Lister, a player that didn't receive many minutes before, but his job was simply to make life miserable for Shawn Kemp. And this strategy really seems to pay off. The experienced Lister was annoying Kemp throughout the entire game and was taking Kemp out of his game. Then it would all come down to one play. Kemp receives the ball, and Lister does the ultimate
They won a series against Seattle 4-2. That was the same year they won the NBA title. See, Alton Lister has quietly done a very good job on Shawn Kemp here in this ballgame. 28 in the first half.
Yeah, he could have injured him right there.
That's not a smart play.
Kemp is down, bodies all over the place. George Karl running out on the court.
So now people are going to get thrown out of the game. I mean, that's...
Dana Barros just got fined $500 for running out on the court. He is the only Sonic to leave the bench. For Golden State, held everybody back.
See, now if Shawn Kemp is thrown out of the game and Lister is thrown out of the game, then Golden State gets the best end of that deal.
Exactly right.
And that's where in the playoffs, young, you get excited, you've got to walk away from that.
Talked about playing on instinct sometimes.
If a punch was thrown, he's got to be out. I do not know whether a punch was thrown.
I know he went after him. What might be able to see on the replay is Hugh Evans is checking over at the scorer's table, going to sort things out.
Since this was the 1990s, both players were not thrown out, but just received a technical foul. But Kemp's battle versus Lister went to Lister, clearly. Kemp just shot 35% from the floor. The Warriors won that game, and Kemp had to put up with the newspaper articles saying that Kemp was too immature for the playoffs. However, in Game 3, Shawn Kemp would return focused. He was determined to prove himself. How little did he know that he would always be remembered for that game. Both teams, the Sonics and the Warriors, are evenly matched, and Kemp has a crucial free throw to tie the game.
How many free throws in the backyard? How many free throws in the tournaments? How many free throws in Saturday afternoons is this kid taking? And he hits a big one right here. Kemp with a free throw. 124, 124. Kemp has hit 4 huge free throws. 108 to go in the ball game. Hardaway turns the corner, pick and roll, acts for 3. Get out of there, it will. Ball rebounded, tapped away, McMillan to McKee. Up to Gary Payton. Lead pass to Kemp.
Wow! No, that's tough. That's a big play.
That's just what I'm talking about with Shawn Kemp.
That's one of the nastiest dunks of
Alright,
all
you guys,
time
that's
right
it for
there.
today's episode. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also click on the notifications button.
If y'all enjoyed, man, let me know what other videos you'd like me to react to, man. Turn on post notifications. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Click on the last reaction on your screen right now. And I'm out of here, man.